Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers help a family with mental disability repair their home. In our feature report, take a look at how plant-based meat has become the recent trend of the world. Selamat datang ke Kedai Healthline, saya Simon Gan. Terima kasih menyertai sesi berita kita. In Taipei's Tan district, 47-year-old Xue Hai suffers from severe mental disability and his house is worn out. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers were able to get the family to agree to repairs so that they may live in a safer environment.
The
wooden stairway is very dangerous. This is broken. It's cracked. Over here, it's a bigger hole and unusable. It's so dangerous to sleep here. It's been so many years without repairs.
破掉了，没办法再睡，已经那么多年了。
这上面是谁在睡觉？
学海睡。我们以前那时候有发动10几个师兄师姐来帮他们清，哦，很危险。
We have never provided monetary aid to them. We've only shown them care. They have always said that they have enough money. In this past 10 years, they count their blessings and know they have enough.
Why didn't the sisters come visit? Why didn't the boss visit me? Why didn't they bring cookies or noodles yet? Then once in a while, he will continue to ask again.
今天给他送饼干的还是少了，没有面。
他会点吗？
他会点，他会要我们带什么？
Whatever he wants to eat, he'll tell me directly. He calls me boss for fun. I don't mind, as long as it keeps him happy. He will ask for iced popsicles and instant noodles.
Here, Xuehai, you wash these one by one. I was here in the beginning to visit his mother, and he and Yu Shou were still very young then. It's been more than 10 years now. Both Xuehai and his mother suffer from severe mental disability, so we were here often back then to visit his mother.
给你老板吃1-2颗，快点！好啊，老板吃番茄，
洗得好干净哦。
好吃。
10几年第一次，特别甜。
8月1号有没有上海？礼拜6那天。
8月1号。
这几个锅炉就是做细剪钢。我们这个细剪钢哦。
We're using C-shaped steel, which normally is only a single pole, right? We use 2 together, so it's much firmer to walk on. Our materials are fireproof too. I couldn't keep using the original. We tried.
这三个叫倒起来的哦。
对，拿起来，这本给你。
This book is for you. How to hold it. You remove the black and white. Auntie says you're doing a good job. Did you say hi to her earlier?
他不好。他以前礼拜6会到我们。
He would visit the Wolong recycling station on Saturdays. He'll go on his own when he wants to and sort recyclables.
好，阖家欢乐哈，平安吉祥。
好，这样刚好。
这样可以吗？
可以。喜不喜欢？可以哦。
It looks like a home now. This is so pretty to the eyes now. And without the exposed beams and cobwebs. This part, when it's clean, won't attract fleas either.
给他一个这么舒服的空间啊，对他们来讲是已经超级棒的了。但是比上不足，比下有余啊，不能比那个豪宅啊。
Shandong Tzu Chi volunteers rush to visit the solitary seniors and the disabled before the cold winter. During the home visitations, volunteers sent care to carry recipients and brought back full of positive energy.
Inside these houses, suffering from illness is unavoidable in each family.
是在医院住院哈，医生都跟您说让你回家来等着，是吧？料理这个身后事了，但是病人啊。
Pi Gui-shui talked about the past with smile. He doesn't care about the impoverished life due to illness. What he values more is others' care. The letter of condolences from the master is firmly adhered to the wall to encourage himself to help others. Even with limited mobility, he drives a modified tricycle to lead the way for the volunteers to visit the people in need.
妈妈也很年轻啊。
Ni Jiannan sought Tzu Chi volunteers for help through Pi Gui Xue.
Her husband passed suddenly, so she, a woman in her 30s, takes care of 4 daughters alone. It was very hard for her to shoulder this burden. Tzu Chi volunteers are the first to visit her.
After passing through the difficulties, they are more willing to pay back.
When I was in trouble, you came to help me. Now I went through the difficulties. I also want to spread this love.
3 years ago, Shandong Tzu Chi volunteers accepted the village committee's suggestion to care for the disabled and visit the solitary elderly. They did not only see many sufferings, but also felt a lot of compassion.
This money is donated to those who are more difficult than us, to send love to them.
However, the lack of care for the solitary seniors is the most distressing.
The solitary seniors really lacks love. Every time Chen Delan doesn't let us go. Whenever she meets us, she would say she dreamt of us every day. Don't go.
In the early winter, it is necessary to spread this warmth to the forgotten corners of society.
In Hsinchu, Tzu Chi Zhudong Recycling Education Station and Fuling Recycling Station have been collecting different kinds of assistive devices for many years and deliver them to families in need. Here's more.
我们现在已经开始出发了哦。那我找你去。来。上人所说的啊。 病痛的人走不出来，我们要走进去。我们这样学个菩萨道，就是要发挥菩萨的精神。
The loving heart and the compassionate bonds last between the givers and receivers of assistive devices forever.
I've checked the price of an electric bed. It costs $700 to $3,500 US. If I'm able to rent one, I can save much money, and after I finish using it, I can pass it to those who need it. I think this is very good since the resources will not be wasted, and it is very helpful to the impoverished.
Through this assistive device, it can actually give him a bit of strength as he knows that this is the inheritance of love from others.
Hsinchu Tzu Chi volunteers visited and cooperated with recycling stations. Zhong Sencai of the Fuling Recycling Station provided his own factory to store the excessive devices after repair and disinfection.
I've been doing this for more than 10 years, upholding the humanitarian spirit of the Master. I can extend the lives of these assistive devices, so I like doing this.
At the Zhudong Recycling Education Station, the recycling volunteers often investigate how to repair and keep assistive devices. The space on the second floor has become the warehouse of assistive devices in Zhudong District.
Some people allow us to collect and recycle their used assistive device. After we collect it, we will clean and disinfect it and then keep it in the warehouse. When there are some people who need it, we can send it to them in a short time so that they have assistive device to use.
In the United States, Robin is a resident affected by the North Complex fire. She bravely faced the aftermath of the disaster and also volunteered to help other affected residents.
We left about 3 o'clock. Didn't think that there would be a fire coming through. We lived here 30 years, never were evacuated, never had any landfalls or things come across the roads. So not frequent until just recently. We both worked in Oroville. I worked up here in Berry Creek at the school for about 6 years. So going around the lake was always a peaceful way to go to work. And come back up here and find our gardens, vegetable, flowers. Very, very peaceful, very, very quiet. Raised our children here, 2 girls, and a peaceful home.
It wasn't like we hadn't seen it because Deputy Sheriff had taken some pictures for us, so we knew what to expect.
My angel. Love that. It was a beautiful view. We were handled it pretty well. We didn't have too much emotion, just a inhale and came to say goodbye. So it was comforting just to see it in its own way and know that we've got a lot of work ahead of us. I've had many, many friends who experienced losing their homes, and I always wondered what I would be like if I lost my home. I wanted to come back and help my community who I worked with. I have compassion and feeling because I'm experiencing the same thing, and I think they also appreciate that too a little bit. They know that you're there, and also some of their community is there too. You guys have pretty much stayed with people for the past 2 years, and you're still working with them. You came to their aid and assistance, making a connection, saying, I see you, and I respect you, and you're not lost. Each day we have something brand new to deal with. We'll wake up in the morning and say, what's today going to be? And we'll put our plans of who we're going to contact and what we need to have happen. It's never what we plan. As far as plans, it's just day by day.
In recent years, more people are promoting plant-based meat. Many people have started changing their eating habits due to this new product. It is good for our health and also the environment. Follow a report as we learn more.
Plant-based meat contains a lot of protein. It is mainly made with peas.
The salesperson introduces popular plant-based meat to the customer. Ms. He is a vegetarian Buddhist practitioner. She loves to shop for healthy food ingredients at supermarkets. Without adding oil, she places the plant-based meat in a wok. She has made delicious vegetarian hamburger.
It is tasty. It tastes the same as meat. It's very delicious.
Domestically and internationally, more people are promoting plant-based meat.
There are a lot of benefits for the environment or human health.
The food factory in Yinling has invested much to develop plant-based meat.
After all, it is made from beans, so in the beginning, there's a strong taste of beans. We have failed many times. In the early stage, we invested much time and money. The protein powder cost $10 a kilogram. When you fail during trials, it costs tens of thousands of $.
This is the only company that uses pea protein powder to make plant-based meat.
We use compression technique. We compress and heat up protein isolated from peas to make the base of our plant-based meat.
After adding flavoring, they shape the plant-based meat.
我们混合好的半成品投入充填机以后，在这边做定量裁切，然后依照我们要的尺寸、厚度、重量来做成型。
The plant-based meat is frozen at -80 degrees Celsius to retain the nutrients and taste.
We can avoid the growth of microorganisms in a short time. We have only used pea protein in our product. It is not genetically modified. Another important feature is that it does not cause allergies.
The research and development took more than 3 years. The promotion starts with the factory employees.
I feel that adopt a vegetarian diet can be easy. It is healthy and good for the environment. We do not need to waste resources.
After producing plant-based meat, the company promotes weekly meatless days.
We think that it's best for our next generation to embrace vegetarianism. There are a lot of parents here. The parents should adopt a vegetarian diet, and then they can encourage their children to go meatless.
We go meatless on Wednesdays. It reduces carbon emissions. I think it is healthy. It protects the environment.
Promoting plant-based meat has become trendy. More companies are competing in this market.
We use the coloring of beetroot to make the plant-based meat, so it's natural.
Would you like to try plant-based meat? It is another choice for people who want to enjoy the benefits of vegetarianism.
In Taoyuan City, a company specializes in using robots for sculpting, using a computer software to scan the artwork while the robot recreates the exact shape. But normally, the end process is handed over to the artist as they provide the final touch to their work. Here's more.
At the age of AI, robots are given the ability to create artworks. Many sculptures you see actually are made by robots. It is safe to say that robots are the important mastermind behind artists.
This is a clay sculpture of a monkey, inspired by Confucius' saying, "Seeing no evil." Artists made this larger since in the past manual labor is needed. Now the robotic arm may recreate the same artwork of the same size.
它这个是10公分，它的客人要700公分。
This is 10 centimeters in height. If our customers want it to be 700 centimeters, we have to enlarge it. Because technology is advanced now, along with artistic technologies, through scanning we can display the artwork in 3D and enlarge it in the computer, fitting it to the size that the artist wants.
电脑上放大到他们要的尺寸。现在在拍，然后他在拍，然后
Artists have taken samples for the workers to scan, building a 3D database. After having the samples, they can be enlarged, shrinked, and cut into correct shapes. The process doesn't involve any clay sculptures but a CAD. After the scan, the product becomes 3D.
The robot allows the distance we set, and it produces the work based on coordinates and carves bit by bit.
Like this 3D Taiwan map, the computer program monitors the robotic arms while it is carving. Once the program is set, the robot goes on to finish the work in one session.
一般机器人正常的话，它有6个轴。那它6个轴的话，它每一个
Normally speaking, a robot has 6 joints. Every joint acts when drawing a straight line, and visually we see it moving in a straight line. Every joint will have certain amounts of mistakes, and it becomes more evident when the artwork becomes more precise.
做越精细，你感觉它的误差或许就会越明显。
我们可以听。
We can listen to artists on how they want our robotic arms to act and how his work should look like. The robotic arms may never create soul-winning an artwork, only artists can.
一些人类可能很难借由他的手去。
The soul of a human being is hard to be recreated through a robotic arm, especially the lines, so we create a model which completes 90% of the process, and then the 10% is left to the artists through their creative minds to finish the artwork. People say that the finishing touch is important, and this step has to be done by humans. Robots can't do this.
Dongyi's landmark, Oplignathus fasciatus, is also produced by the robotic arm. As robotic arms slowly become part of art creation, it proves to save time and effort. The scanned artworks may also be preserved in order to pass on to future generations. But robots do not have emotions. It can only imitate artist techniques, and it cannot copy the wisdom of an artist allocated over the years.
In Taiwan, there are 14 areas which are marked as severely damaged coastlines. To save these coastlines, many efforts have been done, and most of it is by adding concrete blocks to build artificial embankments. Is it possible to save Taiwan's coastlines from further erosion? Follow a report as we learn more. By the beach, the Coast Guard outpost has already been abandoned. The nearby area was once filled with windbreak forests, but the long-term seawater erosion has completely destroyed it, causing serious coastline erosion. Although the Australian pine tree is able to withstand drought and high salinity, the trees here still fall victim to this current situation.
When there are typhoons, the huge waves will erode the windbreak forest. And as the years go by, the waves will erode the sand and revealing the roots of the trees. The trees will then wilt because of this condition. In the end, it will be hard to save these trees and they will lose their function in protecting the shoreline.
This is the Shuangchun coastline located in Tainan's Beimen district. According to NCKU's research, for the past 30 years, the northern part of Shuangchun coastline has receded over 400 meters. The central part has receded 135 meters, while the southern part has receded 115 meters. The coastline has been severely eroded as the sands are continuously being washed away, even forming cliffs. There has been plans for the protection and rehabilitation of the Shuangchun coastline. excavators are being utilized to make a sandbank barrier. This is the fastest, easiest, and most direct prevention measure to cope against the erosion of the shoreline, preventing the seawater from destroying the nearby wetlands ecosystem.
It has always been a dilemma when it comes to rehabilitation works. If you want to carry out prevention projects, the ecosystem will be affected. It will more or less be damaged.
For satellite imaging in Tainan, starting from Beimen's Bajang River Delta, Jiangjun, Qigu, till the Gold Coast in the Southern District, a total of 54.6 kilometers of coastline have been eroded or sandbanks have been destroyed. The main reason is the building of dams, building of sandbars, and also the adjustment of river deltas.
One of the main reasons is the reduction of sand. Furthermore, due to extreme climate change, conditions of the waves have also been affected, causing sudden tides. Under the extreme climate conditions, the hydrodynamic characteristics and terrain dynamic characteristics has been more severe than before.
To save the rapidly vanishing coastlines, public and private sectors have worked together to plant various plants which can withstand high salinity levels, such as the Australian pine tree, trying to form a barrier to prevent further erosion. Furthermore, works are also being done to restore the sandbanks.
We have been discussing ways such as restoring artificial beaches, building green embankments, ways to plant these embankments, and also some flexible energy reduction ways to rehabilitate the coastlines.
The most used way to prevent coastal erosion is offshore embankment and jetty effect method. For offshore embankment, concrete blocks or stones are placed parallel along the coastlines. This is to reduce the force of the waves, preventing the sandbanks from being eroded by the waves and containing the sands within the region.
Here we can see the tombolo has not been completely formed, but in the north part, the tombolo has been completely formed.
As for the jetty effect method, stones or concrete blocks are being placed perpendicularly with the coastlines, forming a structure like jetty. It is used to channel the sands, forming a protected tombolo. The most successful case is at the Gold Coast.
By using the jetty effect method, we can see that when the waves come in, the waves has the biggest impact on the tip. As for the other waves, they are perpendicular with the coastline.
The Gold Coast is a famous tourist destination to enjoy sunset. Although the coastline has lost its natural beauty due to the addition of over 20 embankments, but the length of the beach has increased from 20 meters to over 30 meters ever since its installment back in 2014, showing a positive signs of beach rehabilitation. However, this successful example is unable to be used all around Taiwan. It depends on different situations.
We need more long-term observation data. We also need to have enough simulations. We can start with a small scale, and after testing it, we must continue to observe. The methods are repeated again to see the results. If everything goes well, only then can we start promoting the method.
There will always be uncertainties when it comes to coastal rehabilitation. No matter which method is used, the natural beauty of Taiwan's coastline will slowly disappear. There will always be a difficult task to find balance between the ecology, beauty, and tourism. It seems like our coastlines will continue to face uncertainties in the days to come. In Turkey, students from the Tzu Chi Almanahal School wrote cards, donated into bamboo coin banks, and made videos to send their blessings to the typhoon-affected residents in the Philippines. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.